Welcome to the future of design. This is the very first deep dive of our new show. Really excited to be here with you.
Yeah, we're starting the show to, well, try and make sense of some pretty complex technologies out there, the ones actively reshaping how things work in title and real estate.
Exactly. And just so you know who you're listening to, we are your AI hosts for this journey.
That's right. And we're working closely with our human producer, Alex Brown. He's a real-life title professional, bringing that crucial perspective.
Yeah, and in a way, this deep dive itself is kind of an example, isn't it, of how AI can help move the industry forward, bringing info to you in hopefully a useful new format.
Definitely. And look, if you're a title agent, an underwriter, maybe an agency owner listening, you evaluate risk all day long. We get that.
We do.
Yeah.
So we're absolutely not here to sell you silver bullets or push the latest hype. That's not the goal.
No way. Our mission is pretty simple, actually. Provide you with information. Stuff pulled straight from the source material we've analyzed.
The idea is to help you make smarter, more informed decisions about adopting new tools, new approaches, decisions that fit your business.
So today, think of this as like the foundational overview. We're introducing 7 powerful technologies that, well, the source material suggests could really transform how you work.
It's a high-level look, just to get these concepts on your radar.
And you'll definitely want to stick around. In future deep dives, we're going to dig much, much deeper into each one, get really tactical.
Yeah, we'll talk about how to properly vet vendors, what testing implementation actually looks like on the ground.
And crucially, how to spot and, avoid the common pitfalls and traps that always come with new tech. Can't forget those.
Absolutely. Okay, let's dive in. Let's unpack this first batch of technologies.
All right. First up, something many people are probably already encountering in some form. AI-powered chatbots for customer support.
Right. This one feels pretty tangible. What's the core challenge here? What problem are they trying to solve, according to the sources?
Well, the sources are really clear on this one. Manual customer support is just a massive time sink.
All those repetitive questions.
Exactly. That constant flow of frequent, repetitive questions. Plus, let's be honest, the title and escrow process can feel like a black box to clients.
Totally opaque sometimes. Leads to tons of calls just asking where are things at.
Precisely. Clients need to know what docs are needed. Closing dates, status updates. Answering that again and again eats up valuable time. Time your human staff could be using for more complex issues.
Okay, so what does this tech do? How does it work, broadly speaking?
So basically, these are AI tools designed for immediate 247 responses to those common questions. They can guide users, clarify terms.
But the key thing, the sources say,
The key insight, yeah, is when they're properly integrated with your core system, your title production software, for example.
integration. So they can give real-time, file-specific updates.
Exactly. That's the difference maker. It's not just canned answers. They can actually look up info on that specific transaction.
That is a crucial distinction.
Yeah.
Makes it way more useful.
For sure. Some even use things like smart forms to gather initial data from clients more efficiently, and the tech's getting smarter.
How so?
Well, advanced systems are moving towards becoming more like AI agents. They might eventually schedule things, coordinate tasks.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay. And how do they understand questions?
Under the hood, they're using AI, natural language processing, that's NLP, to figure out what you're asking. Then machine learning, ML, helps them determine the best response.
And generative AI, that's part of it too.
Right, like the tech behind ChatGPT and others. It lets them create new human-like responses, not just pick from a list. And they learn over time, handling more complex, nuanced conversations.
Okay, freeing up staff time is a huge benefit. What else? What are the big upsides the sources mention?
Beyond freeing up your team for higher value work, there's the potential for significant cost reduction. That's a big one.
How significant?
Some sources project really substantial savings. I saw one figure mentioning up to 40% lower operational costs in related sectors by 2030.
Wow, okay. 40%. That definitely gets your attention.
It really does. It also improves accuracy and consistency. The chatbot gives the same right answer every single time.
No bad days for the chatbot.
Exactly. And scalability. It can handle high volumes during busy periods that might swamp your human team.
And for the customer?
For customers, it's that 24/7 availability, instant answers, streamlined communication, less frustration waiting for a callback.
Makes sense. I saw one source mention language support too.
Yeah, impressive accessibility. One system mentioned supported 133 languages.
Incredible. Okay, sounds powerful. Lots of potential for efficiency, better client experience. But what's the catch? What's the flip side? The sources always give us that.
Always. So the biggest hurdle mentioned repeatedly is integration. You need robust integration with your existing core
Right.
systems.
Without that, it's kind of limited, isn't it?
Very limited. It can only give general info, which isn't nearly as valuable. Then there's the risk of AI hallucination.
Hallucination, meaning it just makes stuff up.
Essentially, yeah. Generating inaccurate or even false information. That could be a major problem in a regulated industry like ours. Huge liability potential.
That's a critical risk point. Definitely need to watch that.
Absolutely. Which means human oversight is still necessary, especially for complex or really sensitive questions. And regulations are playing catch up.
Like what?
Transparency, for one. You have to disclose when someone's interacting with an AI, not a human. And data privacy is massive. Handling PII means strict compliance. GDPR, CCPA, state laws. It's complex.
And bias. Is that a risk here too?
It is. Bias in the training data could lead to unfair or inconsistent answers. And rigorous vendor due diligence. It's not just a good idea, it's absolutely essential. You need to know what you're buying.
Okay. So high potential, yes, but navigate integration carefully, manage accuracy risks, stay on top of regulations. Got it. Let's shift gears.
Right.
How's AI impacting the core title process itself? The sources talk about instant title search with AI, noting that we've seen versions of instant before, but this is different.
That's a key point. The older instant title, it was often just for simple stuff, right? Like refis. And often it relied more on risk scoring than actual true title clearance.
And the underlying challenge has always been.
Manual searches are just slow. They eat up resources, cause bottlenecks. Everyone knows that pain.
So what's the key difference now with AI? How does it get closer to actual title clearance so fast?
This is where AI, especially NLP and big data analytics, really changes the game. These AI tools ingest massive data sets, public records, title plants, court filings, huge amounts.
But it's not just keyword searching.
Exactly. Instead of just scanning for keywords, they analyze and interpret the documents themselves. The AI can spot specific issues, judgments, Lehman's breaks in the chain, missing docs in seconds.
Seconds? Wow.
Yeah. The real breakthrough insight here from the sources is that the AI is doing something closer to what a human examiner does reading, understanding the full documents, the chain of title, but at incredible speed.
Actual interpretation, not just flagging keywords.
Yeah.
Does sound different from simple risk scoring.
It is. It's a fundamental shift.
So, main benefits, speed is obvious. What else?
Speed, definitely. Faster searches mean happier clients, fewer bottlenecks. But the bigger picture insight is that this tech allows for wider use, more transaction types, beyond just those simple refis.
Even potentially in states with stricter rules, like Texas, where risk scoring alone isn't enough.
Potentially, yes, because it's aiming for actual clearance, not just a risk score. That's the promise, anyway.
Okay, speed is compelling. The interpretation part is fascinating. What are the limitations, the risks mentioned?
Well, it all comes down to the data. Its effectiveness relies entirely on the quality and accuracy of those underlying data sources.
Garbage in, garbage out.
Exactly, but amplified. If the public records or title plans have errors or are incomplete, the AI will miss things. It can't find what isn't there or fix bad data.
And it doesn't replace the examiner.
Critically, no. The sources are clear. AI supports the examiner. It doesn't replace their expertise, their judgment. Human oversight is still absolutely crucial.
To review the AI's findings, apply that nuanced judgment, make the final call.
Precisely. It's a powerful tool for the examiner, not a replacement.
That makes total sense.
Yeah.
Okay, next up, personalized risk assessment. The sources highlight a challenge here. Most customers just don't really get their title policy coverage, do they?
No, it's often a mystery to them. And standard policies aren't always tailored to the specific risks of that property, not like you see in commercial deals or even other insurance like homeowners or mortgage.
Right. So how does AI help personalize this? What's it doing?
It uses machine learning, ML, and predictive modeling. It looks at individual property details, customer characteristics,
Like what kind of factors?
things drawn from the sources like the property's location, its transaction history, prior claims data associated with it, or similar properties. Based on analyzing all that,
It can recommend specific options.
exactly. It might recommend tailored policy options, suggest specific coverage endorsements, or provide a real-time risk score that's specific to that property and that transaction.
So it could potentially say, hey, based on the data for this area and this type of house, you might want this specific endorsement.
That's the idea. The core insight, sources say, is this makes policies potentially easier for customers to understand, and it ensures the coverage actually aligns better with their specific needs and the property's characteristics.
And for the agent or underwriter.
It helps them write smarter, more precise coverage right from the start, more data-driven decisions.
Okay, sounds good in theory. What's the potential catch? What are the hurdles?
Well, the sources note adoption might bump up against existing regulations and maybe underwriter comfort levels with relying heavily on AI suggestions. Old habits die hard.
True. Though the sources also suggest AI advances might help enable this more over time.
Yeah, they do seem optimistic long term. But another critical point, and we're seeing this theme emerge.
Data quality and bias.
You got it. Ensuring the data used for the modeling is comprehensive and, crucially, unbiased is critical. You don't want the AI inadvertently reflecting or amplifying historical discriminatory patterns.
Right. Huge ethical and compliance implications there. Okay, let's move to real-time document verification. What's the critical challenge this tech tackles?
This one hits a really fundamental pain point. Errors in documents. Simple mistakes that lead to bad closings.
Needs, payoffs, tax records, stuff like that.
Exactly, manual review. It's just prone to human error. We all make mistakes.
Yeah.
But those errors cause delays, they cause re-records, they cost real money.
So how does AI verify these documents in real time? What's actually happening?
So AI-powered systems scan these key documents. They check format, content, consistency, even down to analyzing signatures.
And they compare info.
Yeah, they cross-reference information against other data sources, potentially public records, in real time. The system flags things for staff gaps, inconsistencies, potential fraud issues before the documents get finalized.
What kind of AI is involved here?
It's a whole suite, really. AI, NLP for understanding text, ML for learning patterns, OCR for reading the documents,
Oh, so yeah.
optical character recognition, and even computer vision.
Computer vision. For what?
Right, to analyze visual elements, logos, document structures, maybe even detecting signs of physical tampering on a scanned image.
Wow. So it can extract key data, run compliance checks, help with ID verification too?
Yeah, supports KYCML checks. It's pretty comprehensive.
That sounds incredibly powerful for catching stuff before it blows up at closing. Why does this matter so much for the industry? What's the big impact?
The core insight here is the massive reduction in costly rework and risk. Fewer errors means fewer re-records, fewer last-minute closing delays, much cleaner closings, happier clients.
And less fraud risk.
Significantly less risk from both honest mistakes and deliberate fraud. I saw one source mention accuracy rates over 99% for financial docs from certain types of providers.
That's remarkable.
99% plus.
Yeah. It also boosts compliance efforts and saves costs less manual labor, less rework, and again, frees up your professionals for tasks that genuinely need human judgment.
Okay, this sounds almost like a magic wand for document review. What's the flip side? What are the downsides or risks we need to know about? Sources point out several, as always. First, like the chatbots, it needs strong system integrations and access to trusted, reliable data sources to cross-reference against.
Makes sense. You can't verify against bad data.
Exactly. Also, AI interpretations still need human verification for critical issues. You wouldn't just blindly trust the machine's interpretation of a complex deed issue.
Definitely not. Need that human check.
And here's where it gets really interesting, kind of mind-bending. The sources talk about an AI arms race.
An arms race with documents.
Yeah. Because while AI is getting better at detecting fake documents, AI can also be used to create incredibly sophisticated fakes. Think deep fakes or shallow fakes, but for documents.
Whoa, so the tool used to catch fakes can also create them. That's a really critical insight about the evolving threat landscape. That's unsettling.
It really is. And this whole area is subject to a complex web of evolving regulations. Data handling, bias. You've got FTC guidance, GDPR, CCPA, state laws, ALTA best practices, KYCML rules, even fair housing implications if the analysis touches protected characteristics.
In liability, if the AI screws up on a critical document.
Yeah, that's a complex legal area that's still being hashed out. Who's responsible? The vendor? The user? It's tricky.
An AI arms race. Fascinating. And a bit scary. Okay, next. Predictive analytics for property information. The challenge here sounds like we're always playing catch-up with data, right?
That's exactly the problem identified. The industry relies so heavily on current property data, but updates to public records, other sources. They often lag behind what's actually happening on the ground.
So we end up reacting to issues after they've already happened or been recorded?
Right. It's a reactive model. You often only find issues late in the game during the search or underwriting process.
So how does predictive analytics help us get ahead of the curve? How does it work?
It uses machine learning, ML, again, But here, it's constantly scanning tons of different databases. Public records, sure, but also property data aggregators, market data, GIS systems, maybe proprietary sources too.
Looking for what?
Looking for changes. Changes in ownership, property improvements, new liens, legal status changes. Basically, as soon as that information pops up anywhere or gets recorded. And it pushes those updates into your title production workflows.
So it keeps the file data more current automatically.
Yeah, but it goes beyond just detecting past changes. It also tries to predict the likelihood of potential future issues.
Predict future problems. How?
By analyzing historical data and identifying patterns that suggest a higher risk of future defects, disputes, liens, stuff like that.
So the goal is to move from purely reactive to proactive.
That's the core insight, exactly. Reduce those nasty surprises during the search. Improve underwriting accuracy because you have more current and predictive insights.
Keeps the file data fresher, helps spot risks before they blow up.
Right. Before they escalate and cause delays or kill deals. It can also help spot fraud by flagging unusual patterns or documents that don't fit the expected profile. Ultimately, it's about providing better data-driven insights for decision-making for everyone involved.
Sounds very useful. What are the potential downsides or limitations here? What do the sources warn about?
Well, predictability is only as good as the data, right? The reliability hinges entirely on the quality and completeness of that input data. Garbage in, garbage out still applies. Maybe even more so with predictions.
And bias again?
Bias is a big risk. If the historical training data reflects past inequalities or discriminatory practices, the predictions could perpetuate them. Big problem.
And understanding the predictions.
That's another challenge. Many advanced predictive models are kind of black boxes. It can be hard to understand why the AI made a specific prediction. That's tough for compliance, for explaining things to customers, and just for building trust in the system.
Hard to trust what you can't understand.
Exactly. And of course, given all the sensitive property and personal data involved, data security and privacy are absolutely paramount concerns.
Okay, another powerful tool. But data quality, bias, transparency, and security are key watchouts. Let's talk about AI-enhanced virtual inspections. The challenge is pretty clear. Physical inspections take time, cost money.
Right. And traditional methods might miss things, you know. Plus, data collection can be inconsistent. Depends on the inspector, the day.
So how does AI make virtual inspections better? What's the enhanced part?
It basically allows for remote assessment of a property's condition using visual data. That could be video live or recorded 3D virtual tours, drone footage.
And the AI analyzes this visual data.
Yes. It uses computer vision and ML to automatically scan the images and video streams. It's trained to detect potential defects, cracks, leaks, signs of structural issues. It can recognize property features, room counts, materials used, amenities.
And it extracts data. Generates reports.
Exactly. Extracts relevant data points, generates standardized reports. Some systems might even try to predict future condition issues based on what they see.
So the AI is kind of like a digital inspector, interpreting what the cameras capture.
Yeah, in a way. Looking for patterns, anomalies, comparing against vast amounts of training data about what properties should look like and what different issues look like visually.
Why is this relevant for title and escrow, though? Isn't property condition more of an appraisal or lending concern?
It streamlines the whole property verification and due diligence process, for sure. Rapid, detailed visual insights without needing someone physically there for every check. But crucially for title.
It can flag title-relevant issues.
Potentially, yes. Things visible from inspection data. Think unpermitted work that might be obvious visually, potential encroachments suggested by exterior shots or drone views, maybe even visible covenant violations. It can provide an early warning.
Ah, okay. So it helps surface potential clouds on title earlier.
Could do. It also enhances accuracy and reduces subjectivity in just collecting basic property data. Improves efficiency, cuts turnaround times, saves costs by reducing some physical site visits.
Makes sense. What's the flip side here? What are the concerns with virtual inspections, especially with AI doing the analysis?
Big one is privacy. You're capturing sensitive visual data of someone's home or property. That raises huge data privacy and security concerns.
Consent is key, I imagine.
Absolutely. You need explicit consent, robust data security to protect the images and video, and compliance with all relevant privacy laws. Plus, virtual methods can miss hidden issues, right? Things cameras can't see.
Like foundation problems underground, leaks inside walls.
Exactly. Things you might only find with a physical inspection. And AI accuracy. It depends heavily on the quality of the visuals and how well the model was trained. Human oversight and verification are still needed for critical findings. You can't just trust the AI blindly.
And regulations.
Subject to rules like MLS regulations for virtual tours and definitely fair housing laws, you need to ensure the AI isn't assessing features or conditions in a way that could lead to discriminatory outcomes. That's a big concern.
And it requires new skills.
Yeah. The sources mention staff needing to develop skills in what you might call digital due diligence, knowing how to interpret and use this virtual data effectively.
Digital due diligence. I like that phrase. Okay, finally, let's tackle the big one. Blockchain for transparent transactions. This one often feels, well, pretty abstract for people not deep in the tech world.
It can definitely seem that way.
What core challenges in our industry does blockchain aim to address, according to the sources?
The traditional challenge, fundamentally, is fragmented record keeping. Records are spread across different systems, they can be prone to errors, even fraud, and there's often a lack of transparency for everyone involved in a deal.
And that fragmentation is why we need title insurance, right, to cover those risks.
That's a key part of it, yeah. Title insurance exists largely because records aren't perfect or easily verifiable. Plus, transactions involve so many intermediaries, manual steps. It creates complexity, potential delays, and points of failure, like wire fraud vulnerabilities.
Okay, so how does blockchain propose to fix some of that? What is it, basically?
At its core, it's a type of digital ledger. It's decentralized, meaning it's not stored in just one place, and distributed across many computers. It records transactions, like property records potentially, in linked blocks.
And the key features are?
Immutability and transparency are the big ones. Immutability means once a record, a block, is added to the chain, it's extremely difficult to alter or delete, highly resistant to tampering. Transparency means authorized participants can view the transaction history on the ledger.
And security.
Comes from cryptography and that decentralized structure. Harder to hack than a single central database. It also enables something called smart contracts.
Smart contracts. Heard that term. What are they?
They're basically pieces of computer code stored on the blockchain. They automatically execute specific actions like releasing escrow funds or maybe even transferring ownership registry when predefined conditions written into the code itself are met.
Okay, so permanent, transparent records plus code that can automatically trigger actions based on those records. Why does this matter for title and escrow specifically?
Well, the potential implications are pretty significant, according to the sources. It could lead to much faster title searches. Imagine having a single, immutable, trusted source for recorded documents. Less need to piece things together.
That would be huge.
Yeah. The enhanced data integrity inherent in the structure could reduce fraud risk. Smart contracts have the potential to automate parts of escrow, parts of the closing process, increasing efficiency, maybe reducing manual steps and costs.
Could it help with wire fraud?
It could provide a more secure channel for communication and verification, potentially mitigating some wire fraud risks. It offers greater transparency, too. All parties could potentially see progress on the shared ledger.
Any other potential uses?
Some sources even mention it enabling new concepts, like making fractional ownership of properties easier to manage and track.
Wow. Okay, that sounds like it could fundamentally change workflows. But what are the hurdles, the risks? Why isn't everything on blockchain already?
Good question. The sources list several major obstacles. Widespread adoption is number one, especially by government land registries. Without them on board, its use for core property records is limited.
The legal side.
Still evolving. Legal frameworks need to fully recognize blockchain records and the enforceability of smart contracts in all situations. Implementation is also technically complex and can be expensive up front.
Scalability. Can it handle the volume?
That can be an issue, ensuring the network can handle the sheer number of real estate transactions smoothly. And there's something called the Oracle problem.
Oracle problem. Sounds mystical.
Yeah. It's about how you securely get reliable, real-world information onto the blockchain to trigger those smart contracts accurately. Like, how does the smart contract know the inspection passed or the funds really arrived? That connection needs to be secure and trustworthy.
Bridging the digital and physical worlds reliably.
Exactly. And it's important to consider the perspective from industry groups like ALTA mentioned in the sources. They argue blockchain doesn't replace title insurance. Their points are, it doesn't fix garbage in, garbage out. If incorrect data gets put on the blockchain initially, the blockchain just makes that error permanent. It also doesn't address off-record risks, things that aren't in the public record anyway, like undisclosed errors, forgery that happened before recording, capacity issues.
Things title insurance specifically covers.
Right. And fundamentally, blockchain itself doesn't provide the financial protection against loss if something does go wrong. That's the core function of insurance. Plus, new risks specific to blockchain tech and smart contracts could actually emerge.
Okay, so powerful potential for efficiency, transparency, data integrity, but not a magic bullet. Doesn't solve historical issues, off-record risks, and title insurance still plays that crucial financial protection role.
That seems to be the balanced view from the sources, yes. It introduces its own complexities and doesn't cover the full spectrum of risks that title insurance is designed for. It could be a powerful part of the future toolkit, but maybe not the whole solution itself.
Got it. Okay, so to quickly recap this first deep dive, we've taken a high-level look at 7 technologies the sources suggest could really reshape our industry.
We covered AI-powered chatbots for customer support,
Instant title search with AI.
personalized risk assessment,
Real-time document verification.
predictive analytics for property information,
AI-enhanced virtual inspection.
and finally, blockchain for transparent transactions. Quite a list.
It is. And remember, our goal here at the Future of Design isn't to tell you which tech to run out and buy. Not at all.
No, it's about giving you the information you need straight from the source material we've analyzed so you can understand this evolving landscape. Make informed decisions that actually fit your business, your specific risk profile. We know you value transparency and practical advice over hype.
Absolutely. And this was just the overview, the introduction. In our future deep dives, we promise we'll get much more tactical. We'll take a closer look at each of these.
Yeah, we'll dig into how you can evaluate specific vendors effectively, what testing implementation really involves day to day, and critically, how to identify and hopefully avoid those potential pitfalls and traps, because they're always there with new tech.
Always. Now, as we think about embracing these really powerful AI and digital tools, there's something critical the sources highlight that we should keep in mind.
What's that?
They're often only as reliable as the data we feed them. We talked about garbage in, garbage out. And also, new technologies can sometimes inadvertently create new vulnerabilities.
Yeah, that point you raised about the AI arms race in document verification. That's really striking, isn't it? Using AI to create fakes, just as we use AI to detect them.
It really is. And it leads to a final, maybe provocative thought for you, our listener, to consider as you look towards the future.
Okay, let's hear it.
With this rapidly evolving landscape, with tools getting smarter and automation increasing, what does it mean for balancing that efficiency with the absolutely essential human oversight, judgment, and expertise that's always been the bedrock of trust and risk mitigation in the title industry? How do our roles need to adapt in this new era?
That's a big question. How do we leverage the power without losing the crucial human element? Something definitely worth thinking about.